Success, expansion, failures and threats. Today's topic of interest is the global retailer Walmart. We will be speaking to Walmart executives, analysts from Deloitte and our business correspondent in Edinburgh.
So before we begin, I'll tell you a brief history of Walmart from its opening in 1962 to the present day in 2016. In 1962, Sam Walton opened the first Walmart as a low price and discount store in Rogers Ark. 8 years later, Walmart became a publicly traded company with stock priced at $16.50 in 1970. By that point, Walmart had 30 small to medium stores in Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. In the same year, they built their own distribution center, which will serve 100 stores. 1980 was the beginning of a new era for Walmart as they opened their first Sam's Club and Supercenter. By 1990, Walmart became the #1 retailer in the US and began international expansion in 1991, starting with Mexico. By 1995, Walmart was present in 50 states, became much larger and competed in big cities with other discount chains. Beginning of the millennium, in the year 2000, Walmart was present in 6 overseas countries with over 1.1 million associates in 3,989 stores worldwide. This brings us to 2016, where Walmart has presence in 28 countries with over 2 million associates and 11,573 stores worldwide.
So with such high growth and global presence, how do they do it? Is it competitive advantage? So we brought in the executives from Walmart to talk about the competitive advantage and the strategy that Walmart uses to succeed in the business. So now over to Karina, Steffi and Cherry.
Thank you, Dan. So competitive advantage is basically an advantage that Walmart has, which no other competitors have, which put us in a more favourable business position. So there are 2 types of sources of competitive advantage, one being external sources of change, which is about the ability to respond to changes such as customer demand, and the other is internal source of change, which is about innovation within Walmart. So Walmart is mainly has internal source of change, but our main external source of change is our multi-channeling, which is basically referring to our different retail forms. As you may know, Walmart has supermarkets, but also convenience stores and also online base. So we're able to quickly respond to customer needs as we provide a variety of products. Internally, we pride ourselves in our customer service. We have 2 main policies which our employees have to follow. One being a 10-foot attitude, which is basically if an employee is within 10 feet of a customer, they have to greet them, ask them how to help them if they have any problems. And the other rule is the sundown rule, which is basically no matter how big or small a client request is, they get the same day service. The next important source of change is our weekly meetings, where it takes place on Saturday morning in our headquarters in Bentonville, where managers from each store collect and analyze the data in their store, such as the sales, any change in consumer patterns and such, and we bring these to the head office to discuss where we could improve, what problems can be reduced.
But I think Walmart is getting too large, making it highly difficult. A meeting is changed from weekly to monthly and voluntary, resulting in worsening its customer service performance.
Yeah, that's right. And we also have one more crucial internal source of change, which is basically that we've built our own distribution. We have our own warehouses so we can buy in bulk, and that way we can easily transport stock to our stores if there is anywhere that is low in.
Also, purchasing is done through its centralized buying system, where the experts do all the deals, which always leaves suppliers with relative profit. With purchasing and bargaining power, Walmart can push the cost lower than that of its competitors. This allows Walmart to stay competitive in the industry in terms of price, which helps to maintain its dominant position. And economies of scale is Walmart another key advantage over its rivals, allowing a lower variable cost and offering a lower price whilst maintaining the same product quality as its competitors, allowing a fierce price competition. By pioneering in database system allows a more detailed sales forecasting and automatically adjust store-by-store deliveries according to its customer needs. This is to ensure a responsive, efficient distribution system. However, Walmart may have exploited all this capacity by 2014, as seen on the table. An increase in number of stores, net income started to decrease from 17 billion to 16 billion, and the expense as percentage sales also increases from 19 billion to 19.3 billion, which indicates that firms experiencing these economies of scale, Walmart doesn't gain any advantage through economies of scale after year 2013.
Okay, now so to the first question specifically to Steffi. So to what extent is Walmart's performance attributable to the industry attractiveness?
So the main factor which makes an industry attractive is its level of profitability, which can be shown using the Porter's 5 forces of competition framework. So the stronger the forces, the greater the competitive pressures of the industry, therefore making the industry less profitable. So if we take a look at suppliers of Walmart, we can see that they have a weak force as they have weak bargaining power. This is due to the size of purchases that Walmart gets from these suppliers, which make them desirable but yet fearful to suppliers. When Walmart does deal with suppliers, they're often quite ready to be interrogated and intimidated by Walmart. But they're also very smart in the way that they do it, because they tend to avoid any dependence on individual suppliers by limiting the total purchases it obtains from any given supplier, which results in asymmetry of bargaining power. So say for example, Walmart's biggest supplier was Procter & Gamble, which accounted for about 3% of Walmart's sales, but this represented 18% for Procter & Gamble's revenues. And furthermore, Walmart are very involved with its suppliers, and it has its inputs with its environment and its employment. If we take a look at buyers, we can see that they mainly have weak bargaining power just because there's a huge diversity of buyers. But to counteract this, Walmart targets quite a large population, so in this sense there is still quite a bit of force, although it's quite weak. When we look at substitutes, there's also a weak force just because Walmart is known for its very low prices. So its switching costs are extremely low since substitutes are a lot more expensive. But if customers are looking for more focal goods, they can look to TJ Maxx because they're more stylish, Whole Foods, which has better quality of goods, Lowe's, which is more service orientated, Best Buy, which is more focused in terms of product range. But if we look to potential entrants, we can see that this exhibits a very strong force just because there's not a lot of barriers to entry. Small retailers can enter the market and compete on the basis of location, convenience and speciality. So there's not a lot of barriers to entry, so that exhibits a very strong force. But to counteract this again, Walmart has an extremely well-known brand name. Therefore, they have customer loyalty with them, economies of scale, and other things which act as a bit of a barrier. The last one, which is industry competitors, this again exhibits an extremely large force, just because in order for Walmart to stay in their business and compete with their competitors such as Amazon, Target and Costco, they have to be extremely competitive and smart in the way they do things. So they're known for their extremely low prices. They have a motto and commitment to everyday low cost, EDLC, which is what they're known as. They've also increased investments with e-commerce and technology, www.walmart.com, which allows customers to pick up their goods the same day that they're ordered. They've expanded their goods and services, groceries, fashion clothing, music downloads, online prescription drugs. They basically do everything, so they cater to everyone. And finally, if we just kind of summarize everything, we have over 260 million customers in over 11,000 stores. So in that sense, we're very competitive just because we have a broad scope of customers.
Thank you guys for coming in to the studio. So now we go over to our business correspondent, Elena, who is currently in Scotland to tell us about the extent to which Walmart's competitive advantage is sustainable. Over to you.
Thank you, Dan. So yes, one of the reasons why Walmart has sustained its competitive advantage is distribution centers. By opening large distribution centers which formed the basis of Walmart's expansion strategy, Walmart's strategy was to put good-sized stores into little one-horse towns that everyone else was ignoring. Walmart's distribution centers served up to 100 discount stores, and once a critical mass of stores had been established, Walmart would then build a new distribution center. Another reason was using its technology efficiently by creating its two websites, www.walmart.com and www.samsclub.com. A key feature of Walmart's online strategy that sustained Walmart's competitive advantage was its integration of web-based transactions with its physical presence, allowing online customers to pick up at their local Walmart stores with the same-day pickup items that were in stock. Another reason was relationship with its employees. Walton created a unique spirit of motivation and involvement, which was also key to keeping its competitive advantage sustainable as employees got along with each other and helped the company grow. The last reason is everyday low pricing philosophy, where items were priced low every day so that customers could trust that Walmart prices would not change under frequent promotional activities, is what built that trust between Walmart and its customers and what kept that competitive advantage sustainable. The change of its slogan, everyday low prices, buy save money, live better, shows that Walmart played a vital role in building the relationship with customers to offer them lower prices, happiness and well-being.
Okay, now can you tell us why other retailers were not able to imitate Walmart's strategy and duplicating its competitive advantage?
Yes, Dan. So gathering information from different newspapers, the Evening Standard says that Walmart was a world leader in distribution logistics. While most discount retailers rely on their suppliers and third-party distributors, 82% of Walmart purchases are shipped to Walmart's own distribution centers. The Sunday Telegraph says that Walmart spent less on advertising than its rivals. Its advertising sales ratio in 2012 was 0.55%, where most of its rivals had a ratio between 1.5% and 3%. Walmart can set very low prices on the essential needs as they can afford due to large economies of scale. This low pricing strategy makes it very difficult and unattractive for new entrants to compete in the market. The Daily Telegraph says that the extension of Walmart's procurement system involves direct purchases from overseas suppliers rather than through importers, giving Walmart direct control of import logistics. This is something that not everyone in the industry could do, which gave Walmart that difference between other retailers. And finally, the Sunday Times says that the early Saturday morning meetings, weekly sales data would be reviewed and the regional VPs would contact their district managers about actions that had to be taken for the coming week. According to former CEO David Glass, by noon on Saturday we had all our corrections in place. Our competitors, for most part, got their sales results on Monday for the week prior. Now they are already 10 days behind. That's it from me today. Thank you very much. Back to Dan in the studio.
So now we go over to Helen, who's currently at the Deloitte office, to talk to the head of retail expansion to tell us more about the global strategy for Walmart.
Thank you, Dan. Today I'm here in the Deloitte office talking to Head of Retail Expansion, Letitia, which is here to answer some of our key questions. Hello, Letitia.
Hello, Helen. Thanks for having me.
Hi. So our first question to you is, to what extent has Walmart been able to transfer the competitive advantage it established in discount retailing in the US to other retail sectors and formats?
Well, as we know, that Walmart has 5 different formats. It has the Sam Warehouse Clubs, it has the super centers, it has neighborhood markets, and it also has the online businesses. In 2016, Walmart began testing Walmart Express convenience stores, which are smaller format stores designed for the new trends in convenience in urban cities. So accordingly, we're going to focus we're going to analyze that particular format in order to answer your question. So as is very well known, Walmart has advanced IT system, which is one of its competitive advantage. In this particular area, I believe that Walmart's IT's department is capable of easily adapting and using this competitive advantage in this particular format. As consequently, they have new technology technology developed by Gramble, which is one of their software company they've just acquired, which can actually capture purchases and other customer data in real time, which allows Walmart to have a better understanding of how long customers spend in their stores and what products they buy, and the frequency, which allows them to really cater the product range in the Walmart Express store. Bearing in mind, Walmart Express store is actually 12,000 square feet, so it's smaller in comparison to their many stores. So having an understanding of the local needs and customers will really help in terms of helping them range the correct products, so their IT system can really cope with them. And next advantage that they have is the everyday low prices. Although we do expect the high rental cost, especially because they want to concentrate in the urban locations, and also that will also come with higher distribution costs because it's much smaller stores, so they have to have more frequent deliveries. However, Walmart may be able to offset some of this cost through the reduced inventories, but on the other hand, the everyday low price strategy is largely dependent on scale and perhaps not suitable for smaller formats. And another thing to be wary of is the fact that the small format convenience store is actually very dominated by other stores such as the dollar stores, and Walmart are perhaps just a little bit too late coming into this in this particular market. We now move on to the distribution capabilities. This kind of small store can benefit from existing distribution system. Locations can be chosen in a way that inventory can be tethered to supermarkets. So say for example, in a short run, they're really low on a product that's really that's quite popular, they can just communicate with the superstores to get that product if they are located in a reasonable distance between the two. And also they can use Walmart.com and in-store pickup to provide a seamless click and collect service. However, the plan to deliver a super center service in a smaller format may lead to logistical issues and may not fit into the pricing model, because essentially they're going from pack sizes to backroom processes, which is very different to its traditional core supply chain method. So in terms of partnership relationship with vendors, I actually see there's been no issues here. There's another new platform that their vendors can actually use, can use. And also in Walmart, the normal Walmart supercenters is 1,078,000 square feet, which some products can get overwhelmed and get missed out by customers, and in a smaller environment they might be more noticeable, and I'm pretty sure suppliers would welcome that new introduction.
So talking more on the global expansion side, how do you think Walmart entered the international market?
Walmart doesn't really have a strategy, a strategy that they use very often. They kind of do. They do a bit of greenfield entry, which they did in Argentina, and they did a joint venture in Mexico. Then they did acquisitions of existing retailers in Canada, UK, Chile, and South Africa. Looking from the activities, I think it's mainly dependent on how saturated the market of each respective country is. So say for example in the UK, the market was pretty saturated. We had the Tesco, Sainsbury's, Morrisons, who have all very established leaders in the supermarket industry, and to come and create your own Walmart and to do an organic entry would have been very, very difficult, given that those other companies would have rightfully retaliated against us. So therefore we see a different mixture in terms of what Walmart does. There is no definite strategy, it just depends on the location that they are going into.
And my final question for you, Letitia, today is, do you think there were any issues with Walmart transferring their competitive advantage to other countries?
Yeah. For this question, again, I'm going to look at their competitive advantage and just see if they have if they would have any problems in transferring these competitive advantage in different countries. In terms of advanced IT system, this really will depend on how well they train their employees in implementing this IT system. As long as they can do that, then I'm sure that there wouldn't be any problems. The only problem that comes with this with this competitive advantage is that it cannot build on the US, on the data gathered from the US. Every customers across countries are completely different. So therefore, they perhaps have to, generate their new set of data, and that kind of links to why they do a lot more acquisitions than greenfield entry, because with acquisitions they already can acquire a company that has knowledge and has been there and has customers and has some sort of data, so it allows them to use their sophisticated system and then combine with the data to provide a seamless service. In terms of their everyday low price strategy, again, no problem. I don't know anywhere in the world that hates low prices. However, how that can be interpreted, it can be completely different. In South Korea, one of the areas where Walmart actually had to pull out in 2006, a big environment created an image of a cheap marketplace with warehouse style and poor quality products, instead of being cheap price, come on, let's get some. It just didn't create the message, the image that Walmart, that the customers really wanted and liked. So therefore that strategy didn't work so well. Perhaps a smaller version of Walmart would have worked better. In terms of distribution capabilities, Walmart has an electronic data interchange, which allows them to have information, which allows them to understand and have access to supplier operational process costs and to better negotiate prices, which then leads to them having purchasing power and having lower prices. However, in South Korea, what they found is that suppliers were actually reluctant to have this open information exchange system with Walmart. And also in South Korea, there were several layers of distribution, with each layer is demanding a markup, and which added transaction costs for the retailers. Again, all of this just translated to lack of control over its supply chain, which is something that Walmart needs in order to implement a seamless distribution network system. And another problem is also you have to look into it is a decent infrastructure that needed to move all the goods efficiently. As we see, and Walmart likes to transport its goods through using the trucks, and if there is no good infrastructure, especially roads, and they're not maintained properly, that could pose a huge heavy problem, and the goods ends up costing even more. And in terms of customer-oriented workforce, if it's a greenfield entry, it can build its own corporate culture, because they're going in there, they're building their own companies, stores, and so that there's no problem there. However, if it's an acquisition, they have to convert the existing corporate culture into their own culture, which might be costly, it might be time-consuming. And if it's a joint venture, this will require mutual understanding and fit between the two companies in order to work effectively. And you also might have to compromise on certain aspects of their culture, In terms of partnership with vendors, again, if they use well-known suppliers such as Procter & Gamble, Procter & Gamble is very internationally known, so he actually produces some products that are used in many different countries, so they can use that relationship to supply those products. However, again, it still has to build new relationships with local suppliers in order to really get product ranges that best suits the needs of that particular country. Thank you.
Thank you, Letitia. Thank you for answering our questions today. It was a pleasure being here in the Deloitte office with you. That's it for today, everyone. Back to Dan in the London office.
Now let's have a look at the weather forecast for Walmart and see what the outlook is for their future.
Thanks for that, Dan. The weather is looking pretty threatening of late. There are, however, some sunny spells later on. A threat in this case is an external factor that has the potential to become detrimental to Walmart's success. Throughout the years, Walmart has never seen return on equity fall below 19%, even in times of turmoil, economic recession and war. So in 2016, what could be a danger to the continued success of the world's biggest company? Let's have a look at competition. As previously discussed, Walmart has a vast amount of products in multiple countries, all varying in complexity and size. This is one of the problems the company faces. How to maintain success when competitors have competitive advantage in style, like TJ Maxx, and more quality-driven, like Whole Foods, and so on. Walmart has had some international struggles as well. A significant dependence on international operations for growth and domestically for profitability is a potential threat, but the internal expansion proposes the biggest challenge, adapting to the country's tastes, infrastructure and regulation. If the company is unable to adapt, it will fail. This is what happened when Walmart entered the German market. An oligopoly of low-priced competitors existed, rewarding Walmart no competitive advantage. The company eventually withdrew from the market, citing sustained losses. The world's largest retailer faces new challenges at a time when low prices and shopping can be a few clicks away on a tablet computer or mobile phone. Moreover, shoppers are no longer willing to spend hours in big supercenters. They're turning to online competitors like Amazon.com, dollar stores and pharmacies. As of June 2015, Walmart.com sells just over 4 million products, and in comparison, Amazon.com sells way over 350 million products. Walmart.com sells a mere 1.1% of what Amazon.com sells. This is an interesting point of comparison on how online and offline retailers compare to each other, and rather how the online sites of brick and mortar stores compare to pure online stores. Walmart has seen some falling numbers. Revenue at Walmart in the US, which account for 60% of the company's total sales, has declined for 5 consecutive quarters. Meanwhile, the number of customers has fallen 6 quarters in a row. The company has become a victim of an uneven economic recovery that has benefited wealthy shoppers more than those in the lower income groups. Internal pressures are of greatest concern, however. Rates of pay and employee scheduling practices were attacked by an association of current and former employees called Our Walmart. Intense pressure for cost saving and sales growth frequently resulted in cases of employee abuse. The company has been forced to compensate current and former employees for unpaid overtime work and for failure to ensure that workers receive legally mandated rest breaks. On a sunnier side, what must be said is that whenever Walmart have had success threatened, they've responded resolutely. When it was suggested that their status was pinned on underpaid workers, the CEO at the time, Sam Walton, increased minimum starting pay to nearly $2 above the federal minimum wage. Ultimately, the rise of e-commerce proposes the greatest threat, but Walmart is shoring up its online business. It is testing online grocery delivery, and Walmart more than doubled the number of items it sells online to more than 5 million in 2013. That helped global online sales increase 30% to over 10 billion for that fiscal year. Anyway, that's the weather. Back to you in the studio.
And that is it. You've been watching the Corporate News Channel at 1. My name is Daniel. Have a good afternoon. And that is it. Thank you for watching the Corporate News Channel at 1. My name is Daniel. Wait, what's after my name?
You say my name is Daniel. Thank you for watching the Corporate News Channel. My name is Daniel. Hope you have a good afternoon.
You best include all this in the behind the scenes.
Yeah, I will.
Thanks for that, Dan. The weather is so bizarre.
So much of all this behind the scenes as well.
So I keep wanting to look at that.
Thank you, Dan. In the US to other retail stores and formats.
As we know...
No, that's wrong. To other sectors.
Sorry.
Internal source of change more. I'm sorry.
Want to restart?
Yes, please.
Today's topic of interest is Walmart.
on, Dan.
Sorry, guys. I'll get it.
100 discount stores, and once a critical mass of stores had been established, it got just so loud. No, now it's quiet.